Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another review. And today, I have the Orei UHD66-EXB132-K 6x6 HDMI Matrix and Extender Kit. This product allows you to very easily share 6 different HDMI media sources from things like a DVD player, a media player, maybe Roku or your cable box, with 4 remote locations up to 130 feet away in full 4K ultra high definition resolution, or even further up to 230 feet away in full 1080p resolution over a single Cat5e, Cat6, or Cat7 LAN cable to each of those locations. The product also provides 2 local HDMI connections where you can extend monitors here locally at the primary site up to 10 meters away. The kit also includes infrared blasters that will collect the remote control signals from each of the 4 remote locations and pass those signals back over the same LAN cable to the primary location so you can actually control the content you're watching. Also, the product features the very latest in power over cable technology, which means once you plug in the transmitter, all the power required for the remote location's operation is sent over the same LAN cables to those locations. Now, the product also is a matrix, which means I can decide very easily which of those inputs is sent to which of the 4 outputs, and I can make those decisions using the included remote control, the buttons on the front, or I can actually connect it to a computer to completely control it through software. Now, as part of this review, I'd like to start with an unboxing just to show you everything that's included with the kit, because there's a lot of components. And then I'll take a closer look at the transmitter module and the receiver modules and explain the connections you'll need to make to use them with your own equipment. And then I'll come back and give you a few things to keep in mind if you're in the market for a matrix extender like this that you can use to compare to other models you may be considering. So let's get started with the unboxing. When you first open up the box, you'll find the transmitter module. You'll find 4 receiver modules that are exactly the same. Each of those receiver modules includes an infrared blaster kit, and as I explained, that'll pick up the remote control signals from that location. You'll find 4 bracketing kits that are used with those remote receivers where you can mount them up off the ground and out of the way. As far as the transmitter goes, you'll find a power cord. You'll also find an RS-232 connection cable that can be used to connect this to a computer with a direct connection. You can also connect it through a LAN cable. The product can also transmit RS-232 control signals, and included with the kit is a connection block for the transmitter and connection blocks for each of the receivers. You'll also find a grouping of receivers and a grouping of transmitters for the transmitter module that'll handle the infrared remote control signals. You'll find a warranty card and a full instruction manual that lists connection diagrams, specifications, and everything else you'll need to understand about this particular product to use it correctly. Now, if you stay tuned, next I'll take a closer look at the 2 main modules, and then I'll come back and point out some really interesting things that Orei's done with this product that separates it from other matrix extenders on the market. On the front of the transmitter module, you'll find a set of brackets on either side that are integrated into the bezel, which are perfectly positioned to mount this into a standard audio video rack. You'll also find a power button that can be used to turn the unit on and off. When you turn it on, you'll find a digital display right here that will show you everything you need to know about the current state of the matrix. You'll also find a menu button and 4 directional arrow buttons right here that can be used to enter the configuration settings and make whatever adjustments are needed to give you the best possible video and audio. On the bottom of the unit are 4 rubber feet that will help keep it in position when you set it down on a surface and also protect that surface from scratching. On the one side, you'll find ventilation slots. On the other side, a pair of fans, and they work together to keep the electronics inside at a very comfortable temperature. On the rear of the units where you'll make all your connections, starting on the left on the bottom, you'll find 6 HDMI connections right here. Those are all HDMI input ports. You'll connect these up to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote locations. You'll also find grounding studs that are strain relief as well, where you can attach the cables there to keep them securely plugged in. To the right of that are 6 outputs. 2 are local HDMI connections, again with grounding studs. The other 4 are the remote locations where you'll connect up your LAN cable, whether it's a Cat5e, Cat6, or Cat7. One end plugs in here, the other end plugs into the receiver module, and those are the connections for the remote locations. To the right of that is the RS-232 connection block. You can transfer RS-232 connections from the remote locations back, and you'll make the connection here using the connectors that are included with the kit to make that wiring easy. To the right of that are 2 network connections. This is a DB9 RS-232 connection. You can use the included cable and connect that to your computer if you have that port available. If not, you can add this to your local LAN network. On the top, starting over here, are all the infrared blaster connection ports, infrared in, infrared out. These are all 3.5 millimeters. Just make sure you plug the right transmitter or receiver into these ports right here. There's also one port on the end here that's an infrared extender. You can use one of the infrared receiver modules, plug it in here and extend it outside the cabinet. And that way, if you close this into a cabinet with a door, it'll still pick up the infrared receiver signals from that remote control. To the right of that are your audio inputs. You'll find 2 analog right here. You'll also find 2 coaxial and 2 optical. And this is where you can inject audio that you can share with those media locations. These are your audio outputs. Again, you can connect analog or a coaxial here to listen to the audio outputs for each of the inputs, again, directing it from the matrix. Over here is a grounding stud for the cabinet. And finally, this is where the AC cord plugs in that's supplied with the kit. The kit also includes 4 remote receiver modules. Each of these are exactly the same. On the front of the module, you'll find a power indicator. Once power is applied to this through the LAN cable, it starts an internal power on self-test where it's checking all the electronics to make sure they're working okay. When it passes that test, it'll light that LED letting you know it's ready to use. On the bottom of the unit, on the sides of the unit, you'll find slots cut into the chassis. Those are for ventilation to keep the electronics inside at a comfortable temperature. You'll also notice holes here that can be used with the mounting kit that's included, and you can mount this up off the ground and out of the way. On the rear of the modules where you'll make all your connections, starting on the left is a DC input port. If you don't use the power over cable technology, you can power this with a power supply at the remote location, but since this system features that power over cable technology, you won't need to use that. This is the other end of the LAN cable coming from the transmitter module. You'll plug it in there. The HDMI output port is used to connect your monitor up at that remote location. It's a standard HDMI connection. 2 infrared blaster ports, infrared in and infrared out. When you're plugging those modules in, make sure you plug the larger module into the infrared in and the smaller module into the infrared out. To the right of that is an RS-232 port. You can use the connection block to make that connection easy. To the right of that is a service port, and that's used for moving new firmware that enables features and functions down the road to the product. You can connect a micro USB cable from here to your computer, move the firmware file over to the receiver module, and that'll complete the installation. That's pretty much it for the receiver modules. I hope those closer looks were helpful. Now here are a few key things to keep in mind if you're searching for an HDMI matrix or an HDMI extender, because what Orei has essentially done is combine both of those functions into a single unit, providing the best of both worlds. Now as a matrix, this unit fully supports up to 6 different HDMI media streams from things like home computers, DVD players, game consoles, security cameras, pretty much any product with a standard HDMI output can act as an input to the matrix. And it provides complete control over which of those HDMI media streams is sent to which of the 6 outputs at any given moment using the remote control, the buttons on the front, or even through software on your computer connected to the unit over the network. But in addition to that, they've actually split the matrix in half and allow you to send different video and different audio to each of the locations, providing complete control over the content that you share with those remote locations. They also took it a step further by introducing HDMI extender technology for 4 of the outputs that allow you to extend the content up to 130 feet away in 4K or up to 230 feet away in 1080p resolution over a single Cat5e, Cat6, or Cat7 cable. And the fact that those remote locations include infrared blasters means you have complete control from each of those 4 locations over the content being displayed at that location. And finally, building in power over cable technology greatly simplifies your wiring because it sends the power required for those remote locations over that same LAN cable and means you don't need power supplies at those remote locations. Finally, the inclusion of RS-232 control signals is really a bonus on top of all the other things it does, so you can plug in RS-232 devices here and plug in receivers over here and actually share that RS-232 signal over the same LAN connection. Everything you need to get started is included with the kit, and with a few simple connections you can be up in no time. So until next time, stay nerdy.